It's exactly 24 minutes after 7 here on the AM show. One subject that is really, really critical is security, armed robbery. The cases are just going up with doom, and so sometimes it's on the increase, but they've developed new tactics. Here's what our group did for us here, the multimedia group. We received tips on the latest tricks that they've been using, and we thought, why don't we share it with our viewers, because you know we all experience it sometimes. So we called up DSP Freeman Turtle, who is with the Public Affairs Department of the Police Service at the headquarters, to share, because he's also been writing on some of these issues in The Spectator. So DSP, I want to say thank you and welcome, really. This subject of armed robbery certainly won't go away. We have to be smarter than the armed robbers.
And can we be ahead of them?
Yeah, can we be?
Yes, because those who are not criminals ought to be smarter. Because when you look at the profile of those gentlemen and ladies who does those trade, you realize that they have little education, but it's surprising that they're always ahead of us. I don't know whether it's because of our preoccupation with social and economic needs, so we tend to forget about security. So we always relax, and then they take in charge of us, which is an insult. So we wonder why it should be so. So I believe with a little attention to our safety, we will surely be ahead of them.
Okay, but you've been writing on some of these things, so I'll leave it to you to share some of the new ways. And if you've heard that these days they come in the afternoons often when we are not at home. It happened to two of my colleagues. One person they picked everything from his room.
Even last week,
they packed everything.
I had information. A friend called me and said that before the wife got home, everything was gone. Breaking, because most of our doors are not enforced. And they try their best to play on our intelligence, and the kind of mates and the house help that we have should be educated on basic security. Sometimes they can divert their attention, come and say they've been contracted as meter readers, as repairers, so they will start at work. Sometimes they even come as painters with their tools. So while pretending to be painting, they can engage you, or even somebody will deliberately ask you to buy credit for him, then immediately you leave. On your absence, they'll quickly pick whatever they want and then go. And aside of that too, they have other modules, like they using, I don't want to put it this way, chemicals or whatever. There's something to daze you. You can come in, daze your mate, and then your mate or your household, and whatever they are interested in, they quickly pick it. And sometimes take a few hours for you to resuscitate. So the tricks are numerous.
Yeah.
And keep on typing them.
Here's what I would do.
Bringing those tricks and modules to public attention.
Okay, so this is what we received here at the multimedia group, the alerts that we received, advice on managing armed robbery. We'll go through one after the other, and then you tell us, you would expand it for us. Robbers typically launch their attacks from the back door because they are usually not fortified. And what do we have to get behind the doors? Do you need these metals in front of the doors and behind it as well?
It's more or less imprison yourself, but that will actually make you safer. So I normally advise that we should learn to share information. And one way of sharing information is relating beautifully with your neighbor, so that any untoward behavior or any suspicion, you can easily be alert. Not necessarily enforced, but what would delay their entry into your room or your house should be put there. At the end of the day, there should be some delay, so that even when you are in your room and you suspect that somebody is trying to intrude, you can immediately call the police. Because if you make it so easy for them, that one, they can come in, do whatever they have to do, then bolt away within a second. But if you're able to enforce your windows, your doors, your gates, then there will be some kind of delay. aside of that too, we should all be keeping watch over each other. Even in the absence of somebody should be keeping watch over the person. So we should share our phone numbers, we share information. Sometime when you are stepping out, your next door neighbor should know when you'll be back. Even though it's not everybody who is your neighbor that you should trust. But at the end of the day, there should be some trusted persons around that you should. Saying hello, hello, I think should be a security measure. Not necessarily, because we are gradually living in a neighborhood that we don't care about each other. We don't know the name of the next person or the next door neighbor, which is not good for our security.
But what, you know,
we should form alliances. We should form strong neighborhood watch.
What if, you know, it's not your intention not to be friends with anybody, but your schedule simply doesn't allow you? I mean, you leave home early and you come home late.
But at least have the phone numbers. Share your phone numbers. Know each other. At least once in a month you can meet your neighbor. You discuss a few things. And you can even be making calls and be checking on each other. It's very, very important to us. It's just not a social cohesion, but at the end of the day, we are also talking about security. You have to share information. It's more important than even building a wall around. Because if the criminal, because sometimes they can trail you from outside, or they can even predict your movement, hide just closer to your gate. Immediately you enter, they will follow you. So why not share those little information, get to know each other, so that when there's a suspicious movement around your gate, somebody somewhere who has your number can immediately call you and tell you that, Jack, I can suspect, or I've seen some guys lurking around your gate. Then you can put in the needed measures. Especially you can even call the police and tell them that you've just received a call that there are a group of motor riders, or a motor rider is lurking around your...
The police would do a follow-up?
We would normally do a follow-up. Okay. We take those things serious. Because today in policing, if you're a commander and record a single armed robbery, you'll be taken on by the police administration. It's a very serious issue. So we also deal with statistics a lot. So you have a bad name and a bashing from your superiors if you record robbery. Not necessarily your fault, but at least that is why we tend to embark on massive public education to sensitize the public on the need to put anti-robbery measures in place.
The issue of always have somebody at home, is it really necessary?
Well, it's a matter of if you can afford or if you need it. But at the end of the day, if you have the money and you don't even have anybody at home, get the necessary devices like the CCTVs and the alarm, so that maybe your neighbor will be at home, may not necessarily go to work. This time people go for nights, people go for days. So at least in a big neighborhood, somebody will be there. So if the alarm blow, it will draw attention. Such alarms even scare the criminals. Most of these things are not robbery. Let me emphasize. In your absence, it's not robbery.
It's not robbery?
It's breaking.
What's the difference? I mean, they are still taking away things like somebody did to me.
Robbery is a use of force. By breaking in your absence, the person has broken into your room. The person is fully aware that there's no occupant there, or there's nobody inside. So they tend to break in and steal whatever or ransack the room.
Yeah.
If they get to know, in some cases, if they get to know that there are human beings there, they don't enter. So sometimes, even though the fire service people will tell you that it's not secure for you to leave your radio on, but we on our part also advise that sometimes you have to leave your radio on for the person who is trying to intrude to know that, or to have that mindset that there's
somebody in there.
There's one or two people inside.
You know, there's a particular way that I leave my door when I am home. And I think on one occasion, we left it like that, even though there was nobody at home. The door was not locked. Open. Nobody opened it, because if it's a break-in, I mean, if the people who came into my house the first time were still around and monitoring and realized there was no vehicle, but they still saw the door the way it was, they would think there was somebody at home.
Oh, surely, surely.
You know.
Some of them were even knocked, pretending to be shoemakers. They can take on any trade at all, just to sense whether there's somebody there. If they get to realize that there's nobody there, then they will launch an attack.
I've been thinking about not using area plumbers, call the shoe shine guys around, or engage anybody who is selling around where I live. Is that a good thing, or I am being too cautious?
You are being too cautious. It's just a matter of knowing those that you are dealing with. At least we all have, I have a gentleman that I call most often on Sundays to come and pick my car, and then for washing. And I've done a lot of background check on this gentleman, so that there is that trust. I know his level of education. You should not just fall in for anybody at all. Just
but if it's a shoemaker who is hitting, you wouldn't know where he's coming from.
You see, we all have people. Sometimes we take their numbers. You must get used to a particular person who should be doing something for you at a point in time. Somebody you can easily fall on. Not necessarily having different persons coming in and then today Kweku will be here, I'm a shoemaker. At least have a trusted person. They are all over. Engage somebody or adopt somebody to be doing that for you.
Okay.
It's difficult anyway. We don't have a straight rule for that. It's not a straight jacket thing. Even the person who is close to you, who ran errand for you, you may know that person can also betray you. That person can give inside information to the criminal. But at the end of the day, we are talking about prayers and putting in place the right measures to curtail robbery or breaking.
Okay, I'll continue with the tips that I have.
There are a lot of
but we
tips
also
anyway.
stepped out. We also stepped out to engage a few people. I want to bring that play back to you, and then maybe you can comment on the things that they say afterwards.
I don't sleep early, and then the second thing is before I sleep, I make sure all doors are locked. And then my neighbors, I tell them if there's something that they have to do, I just tell them, look, this and this, they have to do it before we all go to sleep. Because you don't know at the area of doing so who will come and who will come in to visit you. So I think that is one of the things that I do.
The security is very, very, very important. But at times in our area, we don't have too much crime over there. So we don't think about those areas very too much. So in our area, I think it is a bit okay. But some areas, I don't think they are happy with this light off.
First, I'll tell my parents to maybe lock the gate if no one is coming in, so that we will be safe, so that we cannot get problems. Because nowadays, finding money is very hard. So I will tell my parents to do that.
Okay. So if you are in the room and you hear that even though you have locked your gates, the robbers are pushing through to come in, well, what is the first thing you would do?
I'll first call the police. If I call my mom and dad and they don't respond, I'll first talk to the police by dialing their number 191 and see what they can do.
It's a tough one anyway. I have to pray. That's the first thing I have to do.
Okay.
Yeah. And then maybe scream. I have to shout so loud. Father, help us to come.
So in these times that when there is light off, a whole area goes very dark, how have you ensured personal security?
Personally, I have not done any. All I have to make sure that my locks, I put the right locks in place so that my doors and other things are locked well. That's all I do.
I don't stay out late. I always come home early. That is, if I go out in the evening, I make sure that I come home earlier. Instead of coming late, and then in the night, I usually use candles. I make sure there is always light around, although there are no lights outside, but inward, I make sure that there are lights around.
So if you are in there, your candles lit, and still you can hear the robbers coming in, what's the first thing you do?
If my phone is on, personally, I have a friend who is a police officer. So the first thing I will do is to call him. That will be the first thing I will do. Before I would think of making sure that my family where they are safe.
It's a very important question, and I'm sure by now you should be thinking about it. So here's my first test to you. A lot of you say you call the police, but what's the police emergency number? Do you know? Be thinking about it. But the things that you've heard, the first things that people would do, is that the right thing?
Well, straight away calling the police, I wouldn't advise you. What I normally tell the public is that get the numbers of your neighbors. The next door neighbor should have your number. There are occasions that even friends call me and say they can sense their neighbor is under attack, or their neighbor has called that he or she is under attack. So I will give them the police emergency line, and they will start communicating with the police. I think that is the best way of securing your neighbor. Then secondly, aside of that, immediately you call your neighbor, you can call the police. Then your neighbor should also be doing the call, because you may not know when the closeness of the criminals. And then we have a lot of preventive measures. People should be conversant with the police emergency line. Share them with your family, so that even assuming somebody is in the next room and then the robbers happen to enter the hall, that person should not come out. If you sense that there's something happening, don't come out quickly. Call the police, alert the police, alert your neighbor, and alert the police. So if you have 5 children staying with you, educate them. And you have about 3 bedrooms, or 1 is in the washroom, and the person happen to, or the person has a feeling that there's a commotion in the hall.
Stay in the washroom.
Stay in the washroom. Quickly call the police and call a neighbor as well. Because immediately you call the police will be dispatching a team there, and they will have your cell phone number. They would like to be communicating with you. And then at a point, you cannot talk to the police again. So your neighbor will do that on your behalf. So it's also very, very important.
Well, one of the tips was, if you have a gun, registered or not, use it, but only if you're sure you will do damage.
Yes. The first law of nature is self-preservation or self-protection. At the end of the day, you have a gun. When it's safe for you to fire, because you don't exchange your life. You don't, because you have a gun, so the feeling is that you are superior. No. If it's a general in the military, or a commissioner, or somebody who is the best marksman can be shot by a criminal. There are instances that criminals succeeded in breaking through to somebody's apartment. After robbing the person, he picked a weapon to fire, and they saw it and fired, shot the person to death. So when you are not sure, don't even let them know you have a gun, because sometimes it can even infuriate them. When you're in a position, when they are breaking, and you're in a position to fire, you can fire. But when they get closer to you, or they are on you, don't try anything funny, or you lose your life. It's very, very important. And make sure you have a registered weapon. Your weapon should be registered, and you should have somebody to take you through the rudiment or the basis of handling weapon. Else, you end up killing the wrong person or hurting the wrong person. Maybe you have a daughter and someone is just lurking around, and then you mistakenly take the person for a criminal and then fire. You'll be charged for murder.
So what's your advice? Should we all own guns?
Well, it's a personal decision to take, but trust the police. Have the numbers at your finger, because you are not trained. Even in Ghana here, we don't have shooting ranges for people with weapons. You end up killing the wrong person. So, but at the end of the day, if you can afford,
what's the procedure if I want to own a gun?
Just talk to the various arms and ammunition units of the police service. We have them in every police division across the country. Just get closer to them, talk to them. They will link you up. We don't sell guns anyway, but at the end of the day, they will link you up to people who deal in arms, and they will assist you to register the weapon. And when it's time for renewal, make sure you renew it, because if you don't renew your license and you possess it, you'll be committing an offense. And if you use it you'll be committing an offense.
So can you buy your gun somewhere and just take it to the police for registration?
I think yes, of course. It should be from a legitimate source. There are licensed weapon dealers. Those are the people that you should buy a weapon from.
Okay.
They will even assist you. They are always coming to the police for information and other things. So they will always assist you to register the gun.
How long would it take me to register?
Well, this one, I have to talk to somebody at the Arms and Ammunition. If possible, we can bring that person here to come and educate the public.
But is it, is it a bureaucratic
is not so
kind of procedure?
What is important is that there are laws to that effect, and then the Ministry of Interior also has its own guidelines on registration. So, but at the end of the day, when you come to the police, they will show you the procedure.
Okay.
So that you can successfully register your gun. But having a gun alone does not make you secure. Imbibe in yourself and your family basic security tips. When you step out and it's dark, make sure you take a taxi straight to your house. And then aside of that too, when you're walking, make sure your phones are on vibration. Anytime in the night. And don't stay long in the night.
Why should your phone be on vibration?
It should either be on vibration or it's
silent.
Off, because the calls can attract criminals. And profile your area so that where you can feel that or you have information that criminal acts are right there, you don't pass there, especially the areas, cemetery. Most often, sometimes we even do swoop there and we get a lot of suspected criminals. So, set places, when you live at an area that you have to use a cemetery road, I would advise that you don't pass there at all.
Okay. Another tip that has, been going on, we've been told for a very long time, is when the robbers manage to enter, give them whatever they want.
Yes, you have to preserve your life, because at the end of the day, when they kill you, will be the end of you. But when they take your television set, they take your jewelry, you will still make a lot of money because you have life to get more. But that does not suggest that they should go just like that. We have to arrest them. So look at their features so that you can describe them with at least.
But then again, we're told we shouldn't look at them directly when they are.
Find a way of looking at them so that you can describe the features to the police, because some of them are on our wanted list. Some of them are ex-convict that at least we've taken note of them. We have a fantastic regional commander in Accra here. The moment you describe the criminal, he will be in a position to tell you that, look, this man belongs to this gang.
Oh, really?
Surely. That is his skill. So we want accurate description of these guys who might have come into contact with you. Take a look at them. Sometimes even when we arrest them, we parade them. We do identification parade. So we call victims or witnesses to robbery scene to come and identify
which some
them.
people, have also questioned the form that you do.
Yes, initially we had a crude method of going about that, but it's being revised. We now have something like a shield also, so
they won't see you.
They will not see you.
Not even when you're entering or exiting?
No, they will not see you, but you'll be able to see them, then point at them. But at the end of the day, we are talking about being fair, so that you don't go and point at the wrong person. So try and take note of them.
Okay. I want you to leave us with the numbers, with the police emergency numbers. You say it's not enough to have it on the phone. You should be able to memorize it.
Have it on the phone. We've made it so simple with the support of the service provider. It's just 3 digits or 4 digits. 5. The highest is always 5. We have the 191, which is an old number. 191 for all network, whether you have credit on your phone or not, you can still reach out to the police emergency room or police information room. Then we have the 18555. 18555. That is 555 for MTN and Vodafone only. Whether I have credit, it's a toll-free line.
Okay.
Whether I have credit or
18555.
18555.
Okay.
What is important is that share your numbers, put in place safety devices, alarms if you can afford, CCTV if you can afford. People breaking, steal whatever they want to still go away, we get the pictures and trail them and arrest them.
Okay.
It's very, very important.
All right.
Institutions should install CCTV, especially the hidden ones, because some of these criminals are smarter that they can even block the cameras. So get a hidden camera. I don't know whether multi-TV have CCTVs all
yes,
over.
we do.
It's very, very important.
We want to make an appeal to the police, though. You should also have it in your police stations.
We have them at the various regional as well as the national headquarters. And I believe a few divisional headquarters have it.
So have it in places like the Deno police station, for instance.
We will have it there, I think. Yes.
All right, but we want to say thank you. I really, really appreciate thank you for sharing these important tips with us. DSP Freeman Turtle is with the Police Public Affairs Department, the police service at the police headquarters. A big thank you for your time and for sharing what you have to share with us. Please take the cautions and the tips very serious, and the emergency numbers now, you know, 18355 and 191. 18355 on MTN and Vodafone only. Stay with us. We'll bring you sports up next. A bit unusual, but it's also you can enjoy it better.